My name is Dan Proft. I'm a conservative Republican candidate for governor. I was interested to listen to what Chris Christie, the governor-elect of New Jersey, had to say last month when he won the election. Remember what Chris Christie said on election night during his victory speech? We're going to go down to Trenton, and we're going to turn Trenton upside down. Chris Christie, a career prosecutor, kind of an establishment Republican, not necessarily a conservative firebrand, he got the message. The New Jersey Republican Party got the message. In a high-tax state, in a high cost of doing business state like New Jersey and like Illinois, folks are not settling for warmed-over talking points from the Reagan era. They are not settling for tinkering on the margins with respect to big-ticket systems that manifestly impact people's quality of life. They want, in a word, policy revolution. And that's the value proposition of my candidacy in a phrase. Policy revolution. A complete rethinking and reordering of all of those big-ticket systems in state government. Not a single one of which is financially sustainable in its current form. Not a single one of which serve the folks who play by the rules in this state, who finance a state government that they receive very little back from in terms of either benefits or services. This election is not about politicians' biographies or personalities. It's about the policy choices. Because for the last 25 years, if we're being real honest with ourselves, it has been Republicans and Democrats in Springfield coming together to make horrific public policy choices that have destroyed this state's economy. The policy choices before us. So what does policy revolution look like specifically? Well, let me give you an example. Our tax and spend policy, which drive business climate in this state and has driven it into the ground. We have 25-year high unemployment. Chicago Democrats want to increase taxes on work and investment. I learned in high school that what you tax, you get less of, so I don't know exactly why we want less work and investment. Republicans, including all of my opponents, are essentially content to say we hold the line on taxes. But holding the line on taxes is the same thing as saying the status quo is okay, and I find the status quo decidedly unacceptable. So I have proposed cutting the state income tax and corporate income tax in half, eliminating the state estate tax, which is a tax on business too, particularly family business. You have to reward work and investment and spur entrepreneurship if you'd like to see more of it. On the spending side, because the two are inextricably linked, it is not one-time spending cuts or politicians' promises that provide the way back from the profligate spending that has afflicted Springfield. Statutory spending caps. Freeze state spending at its current level. Only allow for year-over-year growth equal to population growth plus inflation. That's it. We have to impose a spending discipline on Springfield that the politicians will never impose on themselves. And if you have a good year, thanks to Dan's tax cuts, and revenues exceed that allowable incremental growth, any excess money is rebated to taxpayers. No rainy day funds, no slush funds, no funny accounting. Springfield is on that discipline year over year in perpetuity. You restrain the public sector from crowding out private sector investment, which is fundamentally the problem in this state. And the only time that tax cuts and spending caps works is every time they are tried, and every place they have ever been tried. Whether it's California in the 80s or Colorado in the 90s, whether it's the Hancock Amendment in Missouri or what Mitch Daniels has done in Indiana, different path to the same destination. When you restrain the public sector, when you reward work and investment, you achieve economic growth. You get the government out of the way. This is not about managing the economy. That's not the governor's job. It's about restraining the government from crowding out private sector investment. The good news is that there's other folks that are signing up for policy revolution, to the surprise of many in this race, actually. We've received the endorsement of the Schaumburg Township, New Trier Township, Niles Township organizations. We've received the endorsement of the Southern Will County organization, which comprises 5 townships in rural Will County. So our message is playing in big cities and small towns and urban centers and rural communities because people get it. They want to see it. And we've also received the endorsement of State Senator Steve Rauschenberger, who served with several of my opponents in this race, and is probably the best legislator we've had in state government the last 20 years. So the question that I want people to ask themselves when they go to the polls on Election Day is real simple. Are you ready to turn Springfield upside down? Because if the answer is yes, then Dan Proft is your only candidate for governor.